Hi there and welcome back to Ripped Apart, a sadly continuing saga. Here you will hear 5 stories where OP is alienated and literally forced to continue family life with less family. Obviously, I will not give a name or a specific location. In the UK in 2022, the removal of all 4 of her children left her shattered, her world crumbling around her as she grappled with the pain of their absence. Pregnant with her 5th child, she hoped for a fresh start, but the joy of the new life was overshadowed by the relentless battle with social services. For nearly 2 years, she fought tooth and nail to regain custody of her children, enduring a barrage of false accusations and fabricated lies aimed at tarnishing her reputation. Despite her protests and testimony of her children, who attested to her innocence, social services persisted in their relentless pursuit to blame her for the alleged harm that befell her son. The constant upheaval of her son's placements, shifting from one foster home to another, only added to her anguish. Each move felt like another dagger to her heart, a cruel reminder of the injustice that plagued her family. Even the birth of her youngest daughter offered little solace, as social services snatched her away just moments after she entered the world, robbing the mother of the chance to bond with her newborn. As the months dragged on, the toll of the ordeal weighed heavily on her, casting a dark shadow over her family. The fear instilled by social services extended beyond her, infecting her entire family with a paralyzing dread of their power. Through 5 different social workers and countless setbacks, she refused to back down, fueled by a fierce determination to reunite her family. Despite the odds stacked heavily against her, she clung to the hope that one day justice would prevail, and her children would return to her loving embrace. It seems in this case OP has been victimized by social services. It seems everything was met with them saying, yeah, but, instead of them simply being that guide that was needed. No, instead of them saying, this is the problem, it was less, we will help you, and more, we won't help you, right? In 2016, in the UK, 2 years following the tragic loss of her son due to a late miscarriage, she experienced a severe mental health episode. Seeking solace and support, she moved in with her mother. However, in 2022, her world was once again shattered when her children were removed from her care, as well as her mother's, due to concerns about potential future emotional harm. Now regulated to visits at the contact center every 10 weeks, she faces the prospect of even less frequent contact. The authorities are considering reducing it to just 2 times a year. So although short, this particular case has social services seeing future concerns. However, it seems no matter what OP does to address those concerns, there still seems to be a problem. It was a basic, we are worried about this. It went from that to, you did the thing to show we could be less worried. So now we're worried because you tried. So we shall punish you more by reducing contact. Social services in this country should help. And in this case, they obviously haven't. In the UK in 2022, a social worker took the mother to court, bringing up all aspects of her past, including her depression and history of self-harm. They painted a picture of the mother as an unfit parent, leading to the removal of her baby when the child was only 4 days old. The mother cried as assessments were conducted, only to find lies in the reports, falsely accusing her of inappropriate relationships with many men. Despite her efforts to seek police assistance and ask for help to escape the situation, the mother found herself fighting a losing battle. The accusations continued to pile up, with the social worker's reports skewing the truth and presenting a distorted view of the mother's life. Each court appearance felt like a step further from her children, as the system seemed to accept the fabrications without question. Determined not to give up, the mother reached out to her friends and family and advocacy groups, hoping to find someone who would listen and understand her plight. She documented everything, collected evidence, and prepared to challenge the false claims. However, her efforts were met with limited success, as the court and social services appeared resolute in their decision. Now her 2 youngest children are up for adoption, whilst her other 3 remain in foster care. The mother continues to fight for her family, clinging to hope that one day the truth will come to light, and she will be reunited with her children. Her journey is fraught with pain and hardship, but her love for her children drives her forward, unwavering in her determination to bring them all back home. It seems in this particular case, social services use trauma as a weapon, and one thing parents are taught from experiencing trauma is how not to act towards people, especially their own children. They are very aware how it messes up a life, and victims usually want their family to know about it, but never ever want the family to live through it. Social services are a system designed to give help, but as we hear all too often, the help they give is usually as unhelpful as possible. Removing a child does not fix anything. In the UK in 2023, because of a mistake made as a teenager, they find themselves facing a harsh reality. Now 28 years old, they deeply regret the error they made back in 2016, an error that led to serving 3.5 years in prison, with the sentence concluding in 2019. Adding to the challenges, their partner struggles with poor mental health, a condition made worse by the tragic loss of 2 previous children, who were born prematurely and face severe medical issues. These compounded tragedies have left the authorities doubting their ability to safeguard and provide for their daughter. Despite their best efforts and genuine love for their child, they find themselves under intense scrutiny, with their past and present hardships overshadowing their ability to be seen as fit parents in the eyes of those who hold power over their family's fate. The stigma of their past mistake looms large, and each misstep is magnified under the judgmental gaze of social services. Their partner's ongoing mental health struggles further complicate the situation. The trauma of losing 2 children has left deep emotional scars, making it challenging to cope with the demands of parenthood under the constant watch of the authorities. Every action is questioned, every decision scrutinized, adding to the immense pressure they already feel. Despite all this, they remain determined to prove their worth as parents. They attend counseling sessions, seek support groups, and comply with every requirement set by social services. They strive to create a stable and loving environment for their daughter, hoping to dispel the doubts cast upon them. However, the road to redemption is fraught with obstacles. Each day is a battle to overcome their past and the prejudices that come with it. They dream of the day when they can parent their daughter without the shadow of their past mistakes looming over them, when their love and dedication are enough to ensure their family's safety and happiness. Until then, they continue to fight, driven by their belief that they deserve a chance to show that they can be the parents their daughter needs. The journey is long and arduous, but their resolve remains unbroken, fueled by a love that refuses to be defined by their past. So in this case, we hear of very obvious and unfair treatment. A poor image has been painted, and never mind how the parents are now, the image they painted of themselves as a teen remains, when realistically it shouldn't. The words "don't judge a book by its cover" come to mind. No, social services use the "you effed up, so you will let your children do the same." There are no dates to share with this one, however it is in the UK. In a small, unremarkable town, a single mother faced an overwhelming situation. Her life had always been challenging, but the events of the past few years had pushed her to her limits. After undergoing brain surgery to remove a tumor, she returned home to care for her children, one of whom was an adult with mental health issues, and the other a teenager struggling with his own behavioral problems. The advice she received was conflicting and often unhelpful. She was told that if her older son began acting out, she should leave the house and stay with her sister. This suggestion was given not out of concern for her well-being, but supposedly to give her ex-husband a break from their son's outbursts. Ironically, she was the one in need of rest and recovery, but instead she was the one expected to leave her home whenever her older son's mental health issue became too much to handle. Her younger son, only 13, had a volatile temper. One evening, during yet another one of his explosive episodes, he became physically aggressive, attacking everyone in the house. Desperate and fearing for her safety, she was advised to call the police whenever her son became uncontrollable. She warned her son that repeated police involvement could lead to him being taken into care. But her words fell on deaf ears. Seeking respite and support, she reached out to social services. They refused her request for temporary relief, instead pursuing her to sign a Section 20 agreement, which would place her son into voluntary care. She only agreed on the condition that her son would receive the help he needed and would be allowed to return home after. When they could not guarantee this, she refused to sign. In retaliation, a social worker filed a Section 20 without her consent. The promised support never materialized. Instead, she found herself falsely accused of drug use because of her low weight and lack of appetite, side effects of her recent surgery, and the immense stress she was under. Reports filled with inaccuracies and fabrications were submitted, yet the social workers responsible failed to appear in court to justify their claims. One of them even continued to author the reports, hiding behind the identity of another worker. Throughout it all, she felt abandoned and betrayed by the very system meant to support her. Her pleas for help and understanding were met with judgment and indifference, as she navigated the legal and social labyrinth. Her only solace was the hope that one day the truth would come to light, and she would find the justice and peace her family so desperately needed. A running theme for this channel, you probably will not be surprised to hear that in absolutely all of the stories you've heard, social services did not even try to help. All they did was help themselves to the children. So these stories are from real people going through real issues. The unfortunate thing is, once a family is ripped apart, the parents are left with less family and the pieces to pick up anyway. They can scream and moan all they like, but the only people that listen are those that have lived it. And those that have lived it can only say things like, "It gets better." The really sad part is nobody wants it to get better. They need it to be better. They need their children to be better. That's everything from me for now. But rest assured, this will not be the last you hear of a mother or father being and feeling ripped apart. See the description for a way to send me your own stories.